Imagine being born into a world with no teacher, no cookbook, and no instructions, and still knowing exactly what to eat to stay alive. That's what animals do every single day. Without being told, they somehow know which berries will nourish them, and which ones could kill them. They know when to hunt, what prey to chase, and even how to avoid poisonous plants. It seems almost magical. But is it instinct, experience, or something else entirely? The answer lies deeper than you think. Because if they ever got it wrong, even once, it could mean death. And that razor-sharp balance between survival and extinction rests on decisions made without a single spoken word. From the moment an animal is born, instinct kicks in. Baby sea turtles sprint toward the ocean moments after hatching, guided by the moonlight and an internal compass. But what about food? A fawn doesn't nibble on random mushrooms, follows the herd, and samples only what generations have selected through survival. There's no trial and error game being played, its precision, and yet one wrong bite could be fatal. So how does the animal know? This is where natural selection sharpens its blade. Every creature that survives has inherited a code, a silent language passed through bloodlines. This genetic code is the first layer of instinct. Through evolution, animals have been hardwired to avoid what's toxic and seek what's nourishing. Insects avoid certain brightly colored frogs because the color screams poison. Koalas eat only eucalyptus leaves, even though there are hundreds of plant species in the same forest.
Oh yes.
But what about omnivores, like bears or raccoons, who eat almost everything? Their flexibility is guided not by chaos, but by deeply embedded pattern recognition. Their noses, taste receptors, and even gut bacteria shape their decisions. Still, genetics can only go so far. That's when environmental cues come into play. Animals observe, mimic, and learn from others, especially in species with social hierarchies. A lion cub learns to stalk and eat prey by watching its mother. Chimps teach their young how to use sticks to extract termites. This behavioral learning works in tandem with instinct. It reinforces the right choices and filters out deadly ones. But it's not foolproof. Even the smartest animals can be deceived by invasive species or human garbage. Tension mounts when humans enter the picture. So our pollution, artificial food, and habitat destruction confuse nature's ancient signals. Seagulls eat plastic bags, mistaking them for jellyfish. Bears raid garbage bins filled with processed food. Elephants follow crop trails into farms, risking deadly human retaliation. These errors in food recognition are not stupidity. They're the tragic result of instinct colliding with an artificial world. And with each bite of the wrong thing, the species drifts further from the balance it once had. But nature is nothing if not adaptive. Gut bacteria, the unseen partners in digestion, play a pivotal role in food selection. They influence cravings, energy levels, and immune response. Studies show that if you change a mouse's gut microbiome, it will start preferring different foods. This means that even within the animal's body, evolution is still negotiating survival. The gut becomes a secondary brain, guiding decisions from within. And in some cases, that gut instinct is more literal than we ever imagined. Chemical cues also act as invisible warnings. Plants release toxins, odors, or bitter tastes that deter animals. Monarch butterflies are poisonous because of the milkweed they consume. Predators quickly learn to avoid them after one bad experience. This feedback loop of taste and consequence becomes an unspoken education. And yet the risks remain. What if the poison doesn't taste bitter? What if the toxin has no smell? Evolution has to constantly keep up with new threats. Some animals take food recognition to an astonishing level. Parrots have been observed choosing specific clay to neutralize toxins in their fruit diet. Elephants will walk miles for certain minerals they instinctively know they need. Wolves leave behind diseased prey without anyone telling them to do so. These aren't random behaviors. They're choices refined over thousands of years of trial, error, and survival. Each bite tells a story. Each decision carries the weight of a million ancestors who got it right or died trying. But let's not forget, danger hides in evolution itself. As climates change and ecosystems collapse, animals are faced with unfamiliar foods. A panda may suddenly find its bamboo forest dying off. What does it do then? Can its instinct adapt fast enough to recognize a new food source? The grim truth is that many can't. Extinction is often not a result of being hunted or diseased, but simply being unable to find or recognize food anymore. Survival becomes a race against environmental change. In the deep sea, where light never reaches, food is rare and dangerous. Creatures use chemical trails and vibration sensing to find meals. Yet even in this alien world, animals still seem to know what to eat. How? Bioluminescence, temperature gradients, and sonar become part of their sensory toolbox. They evolve systems so precise that the margin of error becomes microscopic. But when human impact reaches even here, through deep-sea mining or chemical waste, these senses can become scrambled. Now picture a predator, say, a snow leopard. It must choose the right prey, the right time, the right location. Its decision isn't just about hunger. If it chooses wrong, it could get injured or waste energy it can't afford to lose. Every mealtime becomes a life or death equation, still it rarely fails. That precision comes from centuries of refined behavior passed down genetically and taught by necessity. Its survival depends not just on what it eats, but on how quickly it can judge its options. Insects, despite their size, are masters of instinctive eating. Caterpillars will eat one specific leaf and ignore all others. Ants follow scent trails that lead them to sugar, protein, or even danger. But remove that trail, and they're lost. Their entire decision-making ability hinges on invisible chemical footprints. This fragility shows just how reliant instinct is on environmental consistency. Disrupt the balance, and you risk chaos in the food chain. Even domestic animals like dogs and cats display this instinct. Dogs sniff food before eating, often rejecting spoiled meat even if they're starving. Cats will chew grass to induce vomiting when they're sick. These are not learned behaviors from humans, they're built into their biology. Yet our feeding habits can override their natural instincts. Processed pet food, filled with artificial ingredients, alters their cravings and digestion. Once again, nature's precision gets blurred by convenience. Birds are especially fascinating. Migrating species like warblers eat high-fat foods before long flights, intuitively stocking up on energy. How do they know? Their bodies respond to daylight shifts, temperature changes, and internal hormonal triggers. These cues are like silent alarms, telling them not just when to migrate, but what to eat to survive it. Miss the signal and they could die mid-flight. That level of biological timing is both beautiful and terrifying in its fragility. Some species have even evolved taste aversions. If a rat eats something that makes it sick, it will avoid that food forever again if the sickness came hours later. This shows a remarkable capacity for memory and behavioral change. It's not just about instinct anymore. It's about adapting based on experience. And in some cases, it can be passed down epigenetically, meaning future generations inherit the avoidance without ever experiencing the danger firsthand. Reptiles, often considered primitive, also have strong feeding instincts. Snakes refuse dead prey unless trained otherwise. Turtles will chase down jellyfish with unerring accuracy. These choices are embedded, not taught. But when habitats shrink and invasive species appear, the old instincts can misfire. A snake that used to eat frogs may now be surrounded by toads that are toxic. Without the time to evolve, it may starve or die trying. That's the razor edge many species walk today. Amphibians and fish follow similar patterns. Frogs avoid water that smells like predators. Salmon remember their birth river and swim thousands of miles back to spawn and die. These behaviors are powered by senses we barely understand: electromagnetic fields, olfactory memories, and pressure sensing. It's as if nature gave each species a GPS, but that GPS can break when the environment changes too quickly. And once it breaks, there's no manual to fix it. Parasites are the strangest example of all. Some manipulate their host's behavior to ensure they get eaten by the next host. A parasite in a fish might make it swim toward light, increasing the chance it gets caught by a bird. It's a terrifying but precise strategy, and it works. This turns the question on its head. What if some animals don't choose their food at all, but are chosen by it? As ecosystems collapse under human pressure, many animals are losing the ability to rely on their instincts. Pollution, climate change, and habitat loss are changing the game faster than evolution can keep up. This leaves creatures confused, malnourished, and vulnerable. What once was a world of instinctive certainty is now a landscape of danger and deception. And unless we act, more and more animals will starve not because food isn't there, but because they no longer know what it is. So the next time you see a bird pecking at the ground or a squirrel nibbling on a nut, realize that you're witnessing a decision refined by millions of years of survival. It's not just a snack. It's a move in a dangerous game where the stakes are everything. Animals don't just know what to eat, they must know. And when that instinct fails, the consequences ripple through the entire web of life. Their silence hides a remarkable intelligence, one we are only beginning to understand, one we must urgently protect.